We have Larry Johnson with us today. If you like what we do, kindly hit the subscribe button, like button, go to our Substack channel, same name, Transition Protocol, become a paid member. We will deliver this inside your mailbox 2 times a week. Go ahead, Larry, tell the world what you know.
Well, nothing's going on. Peace is broken out, and people are taking a vacation because it's August. Okay, I lied. Um, a couple of interesting developments. One on the U.S. side. Clearly, the United States has stood down from military activity. A little more than a month ago, Donald Trump vowed that every time Iran struck a tanker, container ship, cargo vessel trying to take the Omani Channel without following the Iranian protocols for entering and leaving the Strait of Hormuz, that uh, every ship that Iran attacked would result in the United States blowing up a bridge, taking out a oil refinery, doing some damage to the physical infrastructure of Iran. Yet over the course of since really last week, um, we've seen the exact opposite, that the United States has stood down. Iran has fired on several ships, 5 ships, I believe, over the last 5 days. And in no single instance has the United States retaliated for that. Second, through sources I have, I have confirmed that the Central Command Planning Staff, which is its main headquarters is at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida, that one of the critical elements of what they call the Crisis Action Team. Crisis Action Team it's basically like an emergency operations center where you've got representatives from different parts of the military. You've had representatives from the Navy, from the Army, from the Marines, from the Air Force. You have representatives that deal with logistics, that deal with intelligence, that deal with operations, that deal with planning. All of them are combined together. And when the war is active, all of this cat, as it's called, and I'm not referring to a four-legged furry animal, but the Crisis Action Team, the cat, it's operating 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and it's usually done with 12-hour shifts. You come in, you work the 12 hours, go home, try to get a little sleep, get something to eat, and then you go back for another 12 hours, and day after day after day. The Intel cat at CENTCOM has been deactivated. The folks no longer have to show up every day. So what does that mean? Well, that means an important cog in the wheel, if you're going to be carrying out military operations, has been deactivated, which signals the United States is not planning any imminent military activity. Now, there could be a variety of reasons for this, and these are not mutually exclusive. One, that the military commanders have determined that further attacks on Iran would be counterproductive, that it would it would waste critical munitions, long-range, middle-range missiles that are frankly are either at very low levels inventory or have run out, and without any chance of achieving success as defined by changing Iran's policy. Second, such attacks would provoke a massive response from Iran with missiles that would threaten the Gulf Arabs, Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates. Reportedly, Iran provided those countries saying these are the specific targets we're going to take out. We're going to render you incapable of sustaining life in your country. And armed with that, at least Qatar and Saudi Arabia pleaded with Donald Trump, stop. This has to stop. We can't continue. Do not launch that attack, because we fully expected the attack to have come last Saturday, and it didn't. Trump, some said he tacoed, but Trump always chickens out is what TACO stands for. But he backed away. And related to this is the critical weapons shortage that even Trump himself today implicitly acknowledged in statements to the press, or made it yesterday regarding Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine asking for more Patriot 3 missiles, and Trump saying, hey, we need missiles too. Then he tried to say that it had all been, inventories were run down because of Joe Biden, but then lamely insisted that, but we're restoring those. Well, the reality is the United States cannot restore those. Some of the timelines for producing these missiles run out to 5 years, almost, or 4 years. So we're not talking anything soon. We're talking, years away, because 78% of all the missiles, all the advanced weaponry that Department of Defense produces depends on 5 rare earth minerals that are produced and controlled by China. And China is not sending those exports to the United States. And as a result, the United States is in a very difficult situation. So we have that as a reason. Then there's the issue of growing shortage of diesel and aviation fuel, recognition that expanded operations, military operations, would put a severe strain on those already limited resources, and the global economic situation, which is deteriorating day by day. Now, we even saw today they were expecting the U.S. stock market to show some job growth, and the job growth was, I think, about half of what they expected. So that's, again, one other sign that the economy, not just in the United States, but around the world, is slowing, and that creates some issues. So from that standpoint, getting the Strait of Hormuz open is considered vital. Now, within this, Iran's position has not changed, and I will say is not going to change. And its position is this: any ship wanting to transit the Strait of Hormuz must first fill out an application naming the ship's captain, the name of the ship, the country of origin of the ship, the cargo on board the ship, the destination of the ship, and the nationality of the crew. Once that information is provided, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, will either approve or disapprove the passage. Ships that are not approved, that try to go through, will be attacked and potentially sunk. So that's Iran's position since the outset. That's how this is going to work. At the same time, they've insisted that they were going to charge a toll. They hadn't specified any particular number. Press reports now surfaced yesterday suggesting between 5 and 7%, which some analysts see as an outrageous demand. But Iran has made it clear from the beginning of this war that they're going to recoup the economic losses that have been inflicted upon them because of the U.S.-Israeli bombing of Iranian territory. Next, the blockade the United States has imposed must be lifted. The sanctions must be lifted. Frozen assets must be unfrozen. Then and only then will Iran be willing to cooperate in fully opening the Strait of Hormuz. Now, those are difficult pills for the United States to swallow. In fact, those were included in the original MOU that Trump violated and abrogated, 3 weeks ago. But Iran, frankly, is not under any economic or military pressure. Or let me change that. There is no military pressure that would force Iran to concede. The only kind of economic pressure that could potentially compel Iran to change its position with regard to the Strait of Hormuz would be if Russia and China cut off all economic, political, and military and intelligence support to Iran. But I don't see them doing that because China and Russia have basically signed a mutual strategic uh, agreement with Iran. So I don't see them backing away from that. So right now, we stand at an impasse where Pakistan, Qatar continue to play the role of intermediaries. Pakistan today did something that I think has struck me as a bit unusual. They've signed a tripartite defense pact with Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan is another signatory. Now, what this does is it combines, let's call it the economic wealth, at least on paper, of Saudi Arabia, with the largest military in West Asia and Europe, for that matter. Right now in NATO, Turkey represents the second largest army, with the nuclear power of Pakistan. Now, it is modeled after the NATO agreement, which I understand even includes an sort of Article 5, where if one nation's attacked, the other nations must basically say, okay, we're going to come help you, but it will depend upon either the vote of their legislature or maybe the unilateral decision of the leader. Some view this as a direct challenge to Iran and to the Houthis. I personally think this is intended more to send a message to Israel. But we have already seen that despite the signing of these agreements, they don't always result in immediate action. Consider the case that there's already this kind of agreement in place between the Saudis and Pakistanis. And when the Houthis launched attacks inside Saudi Arabia 2 weeks ago in response to a Saudi attack on the airfield in Sana'a, at no point did Pakistan threaten Ansar Allah, the Houthis, nor attempt to intervene. So we have to take this with some caution. I know that the Pakistani leaders sincerely believe that they've got the United States cornered. They believe that the United States doesn't have any other good options and will ultimately have to sign, basically reactivate the MOU with Iran, and in reactivating it, comply up front with several critical measures. Iran is going to stick to its guns about who will and will not be allowed to transit the Strait of Hormuz. They will not allow any ship connected to Israel to enter or leave. That's number one. There are reports that they will prevent any ships connected to the United States from entering or leaving, but I think there's some flexibility on that from the standpoint of Iran, if as part of negotiations to secure the full lifting of the blockade and the full lifting of sanctions. So this is in play. There were, expectations earlier this week that an agreement would be announced or signed today. Well, Friday is here. It's come and gone in West Asia. There is no agreement to be signed. The next sort of window of opportunity, presents itself next week. And again, while the Pakistanis and Qataris remain optimistic that they will get an agreement signed, I think in this, the biggest obstacle will be the United States, because to enter into the agreements that Iran is demanding, because Iran's not going to back off of those demands. It's going to require the United States to eat a big, healthy helping of crow. And nobody likes the taste of crow. So that's my summary, Z.
Well, a very useful summary. And I believe that for the benefit of our audience, we need a summary like this from somebody who has deep knowledge about the area, deep knowledge about all security matters as they impact the world, particularly as they impact the United States, because the United States has been a hegemon throughout the last 50 years post-World War II. I have a different assessment of the way things stand. And I believe that this is a value we can provide to our
Sure.
audience, that I can give my assessment, and I don't say that I have a crystal ball or have the ability to look into the future or into the hearts of people who are actively doing the negotiating. But I just have a window in which, through which I see what is going on, and and talk to people who I believe have good judgment about what is going on. So, based upon my understanding of where things stand, uh, I believe that an agreement is imminent. I believe that this is going to happen in the early part of this coming week. Possibly it may slip to the later part of the week, but it is going to happen. Not because the United States has had a change of heart and become benevolent all of a sudden, or Mr. Trump has somehow seen the light of the day. None of that. It is because the assessment of the people that I speak with, the assessment of people who understand what is going on, is that the United States has no good options. No good options. We can say that many times, and we have already said that a few times before. And the next thing is that the United States is cornered. They have no ability to wiggle out from the hole at which Mr. Trump has dug. And every time there was an opportunity for him to get out of the hole, instead of taking the opportunity to get out of the hole, he dug it deeper. And this has been going on and on and on and on. And if he comes back to the negotiating table, which is what I am told is the next step after an announcement is made, he would be in a worse position than he was when he was there about a month ago with the MOU in hand. And this is the unfortunate reality of having elected somebody as deeply uninformed, as deeply flawed as Mr. Trump, who really has no clue as to what he is doing. Everybody understands he was dog walked into this unwinnable war. Not that he is off the hook because he has his own independent judgment, but because he was paid off. I mean, we need to say that by Miriam Adelson and others. So, my understanding of where things stand is the following: the negotiations are very actively going on, led by Pakistan. Choice of Iran, incidentally, not favored by the United States for various reasons, which is another topic, but no need for us to get into that. But United States has accepted Pakistan as a key or maybe a lead negotiator or a mediator. And the expectation is, and this is the belief of the people involved with the negotiations, that an announcement, maybe Monday or Tuesday, will be made that we are moving in the direction of ending the hostilities. And the first step on that ladder would be the opening of the Strait of Hormuz by Iran and the lifting of the naval blockade by the United States. Then I'm told, and I'm told by people who know, that a meeting date will be announced very soon, maybe next week, maybe soon thereafter in Geneva. This is the present discussion, with Pakistan providing the same level of security that it provided to the Iranian delegation, acting as an intermediary between the United States and the Americans. And I'm given to understand that Mr. Vance, JD Vance, will be there to negotiate on behalf of the U.S. And the subjects will be exactly the same as before. Implement the MOU. Once you do that, we will go ahead and do our part. That is the Iranians speaking. Now, the Pakistani hand has been further strengthened from my reporting, and that we see in public reporting as well. Asim Munir, who is a key figure in all of this, is right now in Riyadh, meeting with the MBS, the head of Saudi Arabia, Crown Prince, meeting with the Turkish President Erdogan, and inking a really significant deal that we have been talking about. People view this as one more military alliance, one more agreement, but we view that from our intelligence sources as not that, but as an attempt that is going to succeed in our assessment of filling the vacuum that will be left when the United States is eventually forced to withdraw. And when that happens, that will be the tectonic shift that we have been forecasting and observing, because that will result in the collapse of the petrodollar. It may happen in 6 months, it may happen in a year, it may happen in 2 years, but it is going to happen. This is the assessment of very knowledgeable people, very informed people, people who are really seasoned, because these are individuals who have gone through the Afghan war. They have seen all what happened with the Afghan war. Some of them have actually seen what happened in Afghan War One, when Russia was the invading force. So they are deeply informed, deeply seasoned, deeply engaged, and this, we believe, is our mission to bring to our audience, because it is coming from places that have exclusivity to attach to it. They are not open to Western media. Western media is not even looking there for reasons only they can explain. They are not varnished. We get the information without any spin on it. We bring them to people who have extraordinary knowledge in all of these affairs, such as Larry Johnson, and later on my colleague Pepe Escobar, who interpret all this, and then we bring it to you so that you are informed. So that is my assessment, Larry.
Okay, and let me emphasize, this is we're giving you from well-placed sources sort of the Pakistani view, and they are confident that this is moving in a positive direction. But my job here is also to be sometimes a rain on the parade, and to show that while Pakistan may believe the United States is cornered, I'm not sure the United States believes yet that it's cornered. It does have limited options. We've seen a couple of developments this week that are, strike me as highly unusual and indicative that the United States is still trying to figure out a way to throw a monkey wrench into the whole system. First of all, Scott Bessent, who is one of the biggest hawks in going after Iran, announced Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday morning, that they are lifting sanctions on two aircraft companies and three individuals. Anyway, it was on Iraqi entities that were believed to be connected to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. Now, I initially misinterpreted this as, oh boy, so the United States is making a gesture to Iran by lifting these sanctions. But the Iranians were quick to come out and say, nope, U.S. hasn't talked to us about that. We haven't made any request on that front. This is purely with the Iraqi government. And then that, within 24 hours, that was followed up by the United States providing the government of Iraq with $500 million cash. So the Beatles, they sang money can't buy me love, but I don't know about love, but money sometimes buys you some favors. And in conjunction with that, then we see intelligence reports being put out both by the Iraqi government and by the Saudis, talking about a coordinated effort involving Iranian-backed militias in Iraq and the Houthis, and possibly Iran, to carry out coordinated attacks on Saudi Arabia. So, and I see a U.S. hand involved with all of this. So the United States is not going quietly away. It continues to stir the pot. It will derail and sabotage any peace agreement if it figures it can do so with a reasonable chance of success. Not saying that it's necessarily going to happen, but it does underscore that the United States remains a malevolent force. Now, the political problem that Trump faces, it's a military problem as well. They're out. The United States is essentially out of munitions, as I mentioned earlier, and there's no foreseeable solution on the horizon. They can't magically produce new Pact 3 missiles for the Patriot system, or new tomahawks or new JASSMs, in part because they, as we mentioned earlier, they need those rare earth minerals that come out of China, and China's not making those available. Nonetheless, what we can safely report is news out of the West Asia, out of the Persian Gulf over the last 36 hours has been pretty damn boring, and that's good. So let's hope that it continues to be boring and we move forward with a solution that involves negotiation and not more bloodshed.
Well, Larry, a couple of other things I would like to add to what you just said. And again, this is a different perspective. And informed people want many perspectives, informed perspectives, obviously, sure, not stupid perspectives. So I'm here to give my perspective, which everybody understands comes from my sources that I believe to be informed and I believe to be in the room, and et cetera, et cetera. So we reported on this channel, I believe last week, that Iran is sending Ghalibaf, Speaker of the Parliament, to Islamabad to be a guest on the Independence Day celebrations on the 14th of August. This is something that the Pakistanis have extended an invitation to Iran on, and from my understanding, Iran has accepted, but it has not been announced yet. Now, if Ghalibaf does come to Islamabad on or about 14th of August, Ghalibaf, from our understanding, my reporting, is the number 2 man in Iran after the supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, even higher in terms of influence than Pezeshkian, the president. And if he does come to Islamabad, which we believe is very likely to happen, he's going to have many consultations, especially with Asim Munir. And those are all indicative of the fact that Pakistan and Iran are operating under the belief that the U.S. is exiting the region. And the U.S. is not only exiting the region, it is exiting with its tail, tucked beneath is behind, and with the very diminished capability to influence events in the coming decades. And emerging soon thereafter are 2 regional powers, Pakistan and Iran, and strong backing of China as a dominant player, not as a hegemon. So this is everything that I see, every step that is taken leads me to believe that this is where things are headed. Now, I don't discount Trump's ability to dig a deeper hole when he needs to be taking the rope and getting out. He's been doing that consistently. This is what happens with deeply flawed leaders. And we've seen this happen again and again and again. And you may be right that this is what he's about to do. And if he does that, then unfortunately, there is more trouble for people like you and me who live in this country, who love this country, who want this country to prosper and get out of these wars. And for the region and for the rest of the world. And the shortages that are going to come in, particularly having to do with fertilizer and everything related to that. But Trump is capable of inflicting all that damage. And our hope is, and my belief is, that that is not going to come to pass.
Yeah.
So this is the hopeful note on which I wish to conclude. I would like to invite everybody who is watching to subscribe and to become a member of our channel, a paid member, so that you can get this delivered inside your mailbox. That can happen if you go to Substack, same name, Transition Protocol. Larry and I will be back here on Monday. Pepe is going to be back on Tuesday, perhaps maybe even sooner. And we will continue to monitor the events. We'll continue to listen to people who have something to say to us that we can bring to you so that you are informed. So, Larry, go ahead. Please say the final word.
I think you summarized it best. We're here not to provide you with the visions of the future, just solid analysis with different perspectives. But so that you're informed, so that you yourself can try to make decisions and analyze what's going on. So appreciate your support. just as Dr. Z said, hit that like and subscribe button and tell your friends. Thanks for watching. We're
Thank
out.
you very much. We will be back Monday. Hopefully, nothing earth-shaking happens that changes what our optimistic view is until then. But whatever happens, we will report it to you without varnish, without corporate media influence. Thank you very much. I'm going to hit stop.